Hello, and welcome to a special episode of A Pull from the Shelf, a series where I take a deep dive into RPG or RPG-related materials that I haven't read or I feel deserves to be in the spotlight, and along with you, find out what lies within. And as mentioned, this is a special episode. This one is going to be commemorating 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, including the bots. So I feel for, shits and giggles that I thought this one would be neat if we take a look at the B.A.D.D manual. That's right. The B.A.D.D manual, the Bothered About Dungeons and Dragons handbook that was created by one Patricia Pulling. Unfortunately, her son passed away from suicide, and she felt that it was due to his involvement in Dungeons and Dragons, and, hilarity ensued from that point on. Being of a certain age, myself, I was smack dab in the middle of all of that, as were other people, but fortunate enough for me, it really didn't affect me too much, but I know it affected other people very negatively, and it was all pretty much thanks to this woman that along with the ensuing satanic panic that happened in the 80s, there was a lot of collateral damage due to this. And unfortunately, it affected many, many other people, just not the people that she was, trying to help. But anyways, yes. So without further ado, let's take a look and see what's inside this divisive, little book. So let's move on. All right. So now this is a scanned copy. I am not fortunate enough to have an actual copy of this in my library. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I'm sure there might be some for sale on eBay, but I mean, to be fair, for what it is, I don't feel it is worth something unless you are a completionist in your collector aspects when in regards to the history of RPGs and the hobby. And this one was provided by a friend who has, obviously, as you can see here, an old scanned copy. Now, I don't really condone, pirating RPGs, so to speak, but if there's any one piece of material that I feel is open to nefarious means to obtain it, this would be one of them. So this, if you do a basic search on the internet, it's very easy to obtain if you would like to page through it yourself. But with that, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So as you can see, this was a scan from the front cover and the back cover. It was folded out, so this must be a very old scan. They did not take it apart like certain RPG scans, nor did they crop it. So, but as we proceed, it will be easy to read. But so this was again produced and printed by Pat Pulling to hand out and bring attention to her Bothered Against Dungeons and Dragons group. There will be a lot of correlation within here to how certain things are being conducted today within the United States in regards to, a certain moral panic. I'll put it that way, and certain things regarding censorship. But there's other silly nonsense in here that anybody with a lick of sense who or a bit of common sense should be able to easily see that. Even though she said she did her research, the research in here is not infallible, which as time went on, was proven to be the case. So the cover, we have here the cover. Now, if you want to associate this with a retro zine, the front cover, just looking at it, is fantastic. I mean, this, a wonderful, middle-aged type style of dragon here on the cover, a lot of wondrous fonts. If I saw this on the cover of a zine during Zine Month, I would probably take a look at it. So yeah, there's no accounting for taste when it comes to whoever designed this cover. The more I play D&D, as it states here, hold on, let me get my highlighter up. Just a minute. Let's see, what was it? Oops, we'll go back up and here we are. So the more I play D&D, the more I want to get away from this world. And that holds true today, probably even more so. So Dungeons and Dragons, Witchcraft, Suicide, and Violence by Mary Dempsey, Pat Dempsey, and Pat A. Pulling for educators, librarians, pastors, police, and parents. As you can see on the back here, whoever owned this copy looked like they were taking notes, referring to, now this particular booklet is not that huge, so they must be referencing certain aspects of the books that are highlighted within this pamphlet. So someone must be doing their research. Ravaged by the New Age, Texi Mars, page 220, 222, 228. Don't know what that references. So then obviously you can get more copies from Pat at both this particular Florida address and also from a post office box in Virginia. Okay, so. And then we have a nice, wonderful little dragon here on the back. So yeah, aesthetically, it's cool. So let's go ahead and move on into it. Okay. So the contents herein. Has a information on suicides, banning D&D, statements, religion defined, spell preparation, D&D versus witchcraft and the occult, blood and human sacrifice, religious theme, and negativism. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the introduction here. So the pamphlet here was prepared specifically to show the negative aspects and direction of the D&D books. With 6,500 teens committing suicide and over 50,000 attempts a year, mind you, this was the early 80s, we cannot afford to overlook a game that teaches witchcraft, Satan worship, and cult-like religion, not to mention specific suicide phrases. What will be found in this pamphlet can hardly be considered a healthy release for suppressed hostilities or of educational value. Okay, so so if you were a bit on the religious side and you were unaware of D&D and you came across this, or you saw her interview on 60 Minutes, this would definitely light a fire under you, and unfortunately you would confront your child or your children or your children's friends, and if you find out they were playing D&D, those books were confiscated and destroyed post haste. And I know several people who unfortunately had this exact thing happen to them without even inquiring about is this actually true or real. So because of this intense and emotional involvement in fantasy role-playing, we find young people who are latent schizophrenic, okay, so that's the only qualification, pushed easily over and into a real fantasy world where the ethics became situational and their traditional values are eroded. We find examples of young people being sucked into a vortex of undesirable real-life behavior. Overindulging Mountain Dew pizza and, cheesy doodles. We find young people stepping easily into their character, becoming one with the same D&D character. Now that is an interesting, statement right there, because, and I'm not saying this is negative, but in modern D&D, you will see that with aspects of cosplay and people wanting to embrace their character physically, not just leave it to their imaginations and sheets of paper. But again, this is not unhealthy. This is a creative aspect for people to express themselves, and should be embraced and accepted, as long as at the end of the day, that's where it stops. It's done for fun. It's and I don't know anyone who does not turn off the light switch once it's over. So And we find emotional involvement at a high level while playing the game, in quotes again, particularly when one's character is killed. Depression often results, sometimes violence, sometimes murder, sometimes suicide, sometimes mental problems. So again, this statement here is a bit over the top, but there are real life aspects to this within role playing games, and I believe a lot of it is termed as bleed. But again, this is not necessarily the fault of the role playing game itself. These are particular issues that people themselves have. And would probably, what does occur not just within role-playing games, but in just all sorts of things regarding everyday life. But I'm not an authority, so take that for what it's worth. But yeah, sometimes people, it's. But again, if I would, if you spent 3 years, working on a character and that experience levels have gained and gained and gained, and suddenly they die, yeah, you're going to be a bit upset. That's true of any sort of achievement that you have that for a variety of reasons has been taken down or destroyed or whatever. But I mean, it's not something that's going to necessarily lead to what she describes here, especially murder. Okay. Anyways, we have now witnessed libraries and educators taking on a great liability by allowing the game to become part of the curriculum or program. Great. We need more of that. Again, associated with real day aspects, you do see that. I don't know of a single campus that doesn't have a D&D club or organization where they're utilizing these games to help kids express themselves. A lot of kids who may be a little shy come out of their shell. Kids who have trouble talking in front of people become more comfortable doing that. And in all things, express and highlight the creativity that is involved in these games. That's a great thing. So, again, I'm sure there's people to this day who will feel this way, but they're ignorant and uneducated in regards to that. So, but anyways, Okay. Who will take the blame for suicide or mental problems evolving from this game? Who will be liable? Who is willing to lose a son or daughter? Yeah, so she's really tugging those strings there. Does it really mean that much to incorporate a game to venerate a private industry like TSR? Wait, okay, let me reread that one. Does it really mean that much to incorporate a game to venerate a private industry like TSR? Not entirely sure what she means by that. Does it really mean that much to use a game to venerate a private industry like TSR? I don't know. That's an odd question. We find our school systems across the country banning the game due to the D&D philosophy. This pamphlet is condensed in-depth research. She's done a research, in-depth research investigation designed to save educators and librarians hours of research and for them to reach a common sense decision. Yes, do not think for yourself. She's done the research. Just listen to what she says. Don't question where it came from, and just pull the party line, so to speak. Yeah, sounds familiar. Anywho. Next page. So she goes to highlight here, a variety of suicides. The below listed victims of suicide have one common denominator. All were heavily involved in Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, I mean that's science, people. That's science. If then there. Therefore this is what's caused it. That's the only association that that these unfortunate teens have that caused them to take their own lives. All deaths involved weapons, save one. Okay, three died on the full moon. What are the odds of that? All were white males between the ages of 12 to 13. 3 were honor or gifted students. Then we have the James D. Egbert III, Michael P. Dempsey, which is her son, who unfortunately took his life. Irving Lee Pulling III, Harold T. Collins, Daniel E. Irwin, and Stephen R. Irwin. Now, here's the bottom here. The deaths above do not reflect all suicides, deaths, and attempted suicides due to Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, okay. Do not reflect all suicides, deaths, and attempted suicides due to Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, but she's done a research, so she's found 6 here that are associated. So there could be hundreds, thousands, millions. Who knows? All right, so a list of schools and other cities and whatnot, counties that are currently banning D&D upon the publication of this pamphlet. So, Bailey, Colorado School Board, Morris, Vermont School Board, West New York, New Jersey, St. Joseph's High School, Arlington, Washington School Board, Arlington, Virginia School Board, Heber City, Utah School Board. Surprise. Fresno. Oh, come on, Fresno. You're better than that. Akron, Ohio. Cardona Park, California. Consumans College, California. Hanover, Virginia. Chesterfield, Virginia. South Louis School Board, Turin, New York. Alamogordo, New Mexico. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The entire city. Montlake Terrace, Washington. This list is not inclusive as the means of gathering information is limited to the funds available. I mean, fuck, I ran out of money. The research stops there, but hey, it is, as far as I'm concerned, conclusive, or enough to roll with it. All right. School districts and administrators throughout the country are deeply disturbed by the questionable merits and dangers of the Dungeons and Dragons game. Many are now in the process of discontinuing the game in their schools. Okay. Where is the, I'm sure her research regarding that statement is going to be on the next page. No. So, all right. So we have some statements here that seems to be quotes from people within Dungeons and Dragons, and then we also have other professionals and whatnot giving their information on here. So I'll just read a couple of them. So, but first and foremost, we have John Eric Holmes, editor of the basic rule book for Dungeons and Dragons associated with TSR Incorporated. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a little drink. All right. Shouting the Dungeons and Dragons challenge, my players rush into the fray with their magic warhammers before getting an answer. Their fantasy selves indulge in murder, pillage, arson, rape. See page 9 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, page 31. Okay. Yeah. So I seeing this, I should have pulled up a copy of it, but yeah, I mean, I will definitely take a look once this is done, as should you, to see what exactly is she's quoting here. I mean, the rape thing, I don't know. That's would seem a bit of a shock, but this was the early 80s. Murder hobos, were and will always be a thing, but that particular thing probably not. But still, take a look at it and see if this is an actual quote or if it's taken out of context. Which, in regards to this particular pamphlet, I assume we will find several things taken out of context. Then we have a Dr. Thomas Radicki, MD, psychiatrist at the University of Illinois School of Medicine, stated at a national seminar on violence in October of '83 that every Dungeons and Dragons game he has seen features a theme of armed violence in role-playing situations. Well, you know what, Thomas, or Dr. Radecki? People still bitch about that today. It is a combat-focused game, and that is, that is and always shall be. But people tend to, make the game for what it is. But yeah, that's many complaints from many gamers, to this very day. There's too much combat, not enough role playing, and combat takes way too long. So congratulations, Dr. Radecki. You were ahead of the time on the complaints that many tabletop role player gamers have. So welcome, one of us. Radecki pointed out the suicide of the polling boy as a illustration. Okay. Again, correlation, context, what does that have to do with each other? But, it's a quote. This was a seminar, so who knows what else he said. Margaret Bosek or Bocek or whatever, Arlington, Virginia School Board. Studies I have made of the game, I'm sure she spent many hours playing and reading it and, coming up with her own conclusions, show the negative effects outweighed any benefits. I have enough information on my own, again, I've done my research, that I can confidently say I don't want it in any schools. Michelle Rupee, murder defendant, Olympia, Washington. I became so fascinated with the game Dungeons & Dragons that I began to lose touch with reality. So that would be something that you would definitely want to look up because, this is just a snippet. And as we all know, any murder defense case is going to be a lot more than just a single statement as this right here. So who knows what else Mitchell Rupee was involved in. But that's for you to find out. But again, this is very easy just to pull something out of anything to make it support your case. Maria Piers, author of Gift of Play, states, any 4-year-old who slays his baby brother in fantasy has my blessing. But if he pinches baby brother, that is where the line has got to be drawn. What? Oh man. I feel that one is definitely taken out of context. So, but hey, it's got the word fantasy in there. So it's apt. Deborah Fallhammer. Deborah, you have an awesome name for a dwarf. I will definitely give you that. If anyone wants to make a new dwarf for D&D, please go ahead and make yours Deborah Fallhammer. That name rocks. Sister of Harold T. Collins. We played the game with him, but we stopped when he walked about the house in his evil character, and he became hostile if we joked about D&D. He told us if we did not stop joking, he would call down a bolt of lightning to kill us. Well, Deborah, I'm sorry to say, but it sounds like Harold really was just an asshole. And there's no amount of role-playing games that is going to take that out of anyone who is a diehard asshole. And so, yeah. But how old was Harold when this happened? If he was 9 or 10, I would have probably said I would call down a bolt of lightning onto my sister too. Come on. Anyways, all right. So we'll do one more before we move on. Let's see here. Author of None Dare Call It Witchcraft, professor of psychology. Let's see here. We'll do the last one here. Kelly Jean Poppleton, deceased, Fremont, California. I like playing Dungeons & Dragons while I'm stoned. Because it's such a head trip. While I am high and playing, I can really get into the game. I can almost see the orcas, probably mean orcs, but still could be, killer whales, coming after me and a spell being cast on me. It's so realistic. I began to feel like a medieval warrior in a cold, damp dungeon, fighting for power, cold, and glory. Excuse me. It might get a little carried away at times, but I finally come back to earth. Note, Kelly was slain 2 days after the statement involved in drugs. Now, that's unfortunate, but that right there tells me it wasn't D&D that killed her. Sounds like it was either associated with drugs or drug dealers. So where is your pamphlet regarding that? Yeah, okay. But again, she said D&D, so it's apt. Religion. Oh, geez, my allergies today. Okay. Dungeons & Dragons teaches occult forms of religion. See page 26 through 30 of this pamphlet. Religion according to Webster's. Oh, well, here we go. Here's an authority. Belief in a divine or superhuman power or beliefs to be obeyed or worshipped as the creator of creators and ruler or rulers of the universe. So Webster's already says that, hey, guess what? There may be more than one option to one religion. Awesome. Expression of such belief in conduct and ritual, any specific form of belief, worship, conduct, etc., often involving a code of ethics and philosophy. Any system of beliefs I liken to such a system. Or sorry, any system of beliefs likened to such a system. Webster's wasn't just, making his own opinion. Okay, witchcraft is a religion. In the greater Sacramento, California area, there are some 1,000 practicing witches and over 10,000 in the U.S. alone. Sweet. Where? I've been to Sacramento. Where are all the witches? They are divided into covens. Several of the covens are recognized by the state of California as bona fide religions and have been given tax status as churches. Awesome. The coven leaders have the same position, according to the state of California and the IRS, as any pastor of a religious church. In addition to witchcraft, other occult forms of religion taught in D&D include voodoo, black magic, and Satan worship. Well, to be honest, any religious class teaches about voodoo, black magic, and Satan worship, especially the seminaries. Your point? The Supreme Court has ruled that religion is not to be taught in schools, public. Currently pending in the courts are some 2,500 cases filed by the ACLU aimed at getting religion out of public schools. Clearly, religion is not to be taught in public schools or in related programs, extracurricular activities included, according to the present-day thinking of the courts. And then she's got a Everson versus the New Jersey Board of Education reference there. So, what is she saying with this? Is she saying that the specific thing, just because there's a book sitting in a school library, that it is being taught? Yeah, that kind of rings a bell, doesn't it? That the simple existence of a book in a educational library has enough excuse me, has enough power to completely change your child's point of view and corrupt them to the point of unacceptance. Where have I heard that before? All right, so hey, things tend to be cyclical. It's just how the way things are. Oh man. Okay, so I'm going to try to get through this one without my allergies affecting me too much, unlike the other one. So, carrying on, spell preparation. Now, I've made several jokes about this book on how it makes it an excellent companion reference towards several important aspects of AD&D as it was, and therefore, you should get a copy of this book because just flipping through it, you can get to all the good bits very easily without having to bookmark or dog ear and ruin your books, or flip through the books slowing down your game. Pick up a copy of this and just get out the certain aspects that reference a page, and it's going to make your game run a whole lot smoother. Okay, so Dungeon Master's Guide, page 115. Conditions under which spell research is possible. It is absolutely mandatory for the researcher to be of sound mind and body and to have privacy and seclusion free from interruption during the course of his or her spell study. Okay, hey, that sounds like any good bit of advice in regards to any sort of study. Maximize your study area. Remove distractions. That way that you'll be able to learn efficiently. Okay, is this advice? Sounds like it. Oh, man. All right, Dungeon Master's Guide. Again, page 115 to 16. Research materials. Acquisition of materials include not only text and scrolls, but also various components for the material needs of the spell. Written works cover the whole spectrum of knowledge, as the researcher must be aware of any and all aspects of the magic he or she wishes to use. Thus, works on history, geography, astrology, alchemy must be attained. Again, what exactly is she highlighting here? You just simply remove the aspect of scrolls and spells, and this is an excellent foundation for any sort of research, regardless of its imaginary or real. Great advice. Dungeon Master's Guide, page 115. Also, length of research. Initial preparations and research will consume a number of weeks equal to the level of the spell being researched. See what I mean here? Hey, how long is it going to take for me to research a spell? Well, according to the B.A.D.D handbook, if you reference 115, you will have that information in detail. Again, page 115, determination of spell level. Once you have the details of the spell, compare and contrast it with and to existing spells in order to determine its level, and any modifications and additions you find necessary in order to have it confirmed to known magic principles. All caps. Okay. She's doing an excellent job preparing, spellcasters. Thank you. Dungeon Master's Guide, page 116. Additional notes. Gathering a library assumes that the character is in a metropolitan area with libraries, booksellers, etc., from which copies can be obtained. If such is necessary, this must be done prior to the beginning of actual research, as it will take about 1 week per spell level to gather sufficient material. So, again, Pat highlights that if you're going to do research, it's assumed you're doing it in a metropolitan area, so make sure you go to one that has a good library or libraries. All right, Dungeon Master's Guide, page 139, Book of Vile Darkness. This work of ineffable evil is meat and drink to clerics of that alignment. To fully consume the contents require one week of reading. Okay, just in case. You want to play an evil cleric, and you are lucky enough to find that book, it's going to take you a week, to learn all within. All right. Dungeon Master's Guide, page 39, Spells and Beyond. Magic users will haunt dusty libraries and peruse misty tomes in the hopes of gleaning out a single incantation to add to their store of magic. Yes, and it sounds like exactly my childhood when I was stuck at libraries while my parents were at work, where I would peruse these dusty libraries in hopes of gleaning but a single incantation, book, story, illustration to pass the time. And, the more interesting, the better. Dungeon Master's Guide, page 115, Conditions. The necessity precludes any adventure or general interaction during the period of research. It requires about 8 hours per day of work, and only an hour or two per day can be spent doing other things. Any interruption of research will be a setback. And then Advanced D&D Player's Handbook, page 25. When a magic user attains 11th level wizard or higher, he or she may enchant items or scribe magic scrolls. This process requires the undivided attention of the magic user for quite long periods of time, weeks to months. And finally, AD&D Player's Handbook, page 62. Feeble mind spell causes a victim's brain to become that of a moronic child. Oh man. Okay. So again, Pat has done a excellent job making a couple pages of succinct references to give you a general idea in regards to spells and spell preparation, and most specifically feeble mind for some reason. So excellent job. Tear this page out of the book and hand it to any of your players who are playing AD&D and are playing wizards. Oh, wow. Okay. So, D&D versus witchcraft and occult. The Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Handbook, page 87, 7th level magic user spell, Cacodemon. Conjuring and summoning. The magic user can require the monster to perform a desired course of action by force or threat of pain of a spirit rack spell, allowing freedom whenever the demon performs the full extent of the service and forcing the demon to pledge word upon it. Furthermore, the demon will bear great enmity for the magic user forever after such forced obedience. Okay. What is she highlighting here? Threat of pain and forced obedience. Now, obviously a religious woman, this actual spell here, what essentially is, it is capturing, containing, and forcing evil to do the will of the caster, and through threat of pain. So what's wrong with that? If you are of the Christian religion, this would be excellent. Demons are the bad guys, and, well, if we can't destroy them, let's capture them and use them for our own purposes. And once we're done, they're going to be pissed. Of course they are. So, this was the big thing about D&D. The focus on demons, and I'm sure anyone watching this knows, but the focus on demons and devils they were the bad guys. They were evil. The creators, or some of the creators of original Dungeons and Dragons, were very religious people. And of course, there's the side of good and there's the side of bad. And not for a moment did they consider ever once that demons and devils were redeemable, anything other than just pure evil, and should be treated that way. And your goal was, if you encountered one, was to destroy it. Sounds like a very Christian theme to me. So what would be the issue with that? All right. So Dealing with the Devil by Dave Cohen, page 14, 15, and 16. All right. So this is referencing a different book. Appear then immediately, or I shall torture thee with the force of words of power from the key of Solomon. The devil might be summoned in order to use his powers for some perfectly beneficent end, like finding a buried treasure. By his magic, he intended to make the devil his servant. He is then forced to do magician's bidding. Okay, well, that's not D&D. This, as far as I know, this is some person's other book. So no, not D&D. No. So, keep your focus. If you're going to, if your goal is to take down something, keep the focus on it. This has nothing to do with it. There's correlation to it, but this is not part of Dungeons and Dragons. But we get back on topic. Advanced D&D Player's Handbook, page 86. 7th level magic user spell, Cacodemon again. Okay. In any event, the spellcaster must know the names of the type of demon he or she is summoning. Dealing with the Devil by David. Okay, so she's using it along with the spell. All right. Anyways, the magician might know which demon to conjure in order to accomplish a particular task. Again, this is stuff that is studied in Christian religions, or taught to a certain degree. I'm talking about summer school. I'm talking about if you're deciding to become, a priest or a nun or whatever the case may be. These are specific things that are presented in the Bible and other studies. So again, anyways. All right, 7th level magic user spell, Cacodemon again. The summon demon can be the object of a Trap the Soul spell. The devil's greatest threat with his relentless determination to capture the human spirit. Okay, well, what's the... I'm not familiar with the Trap the Soul spell. I haven't seen that spell in a long time, but... there really is, here this tells them nothing other than trap the soul sounds horrible, and of course that's what the devil wants to do, so therefore it's apt. Don't question it. All right, there's a lot of these. I probably won't go through them all, but what do we have here? 7th level magic user spell, Cacodemon again, fuck. By tribute of fresh human blood and the promise of one or more human sacrifices, the summoner can bargain with the demon for a willing service. Book called The Necromancers, the best of black magic and witchcraft, by Peter Haining, page 30-31. Blood sacrifices, usually in England of cocks. Yeah, I know what it means. Though occasionally goats do take place. While human sacrifices are not unknown, they may there may be good reason to believe that some persons who disappear may be victims of cults which go to extremes. So you can see, with the beginnings of this book kind of, it pulls a few heartstrings. It's the, won't somebody think of the children? There's quotes by people who are saying this is bad, but this is where it gets into the, the spin, the vague correlations between one book or another to try to make the dots connect, to say, look, this definitely is something that is teaching our children how to be witches and necromancers and worship the devil. And granted, it's not a masterful job, but most people who were probably reading and believing this weren't essentially masters of literature themselves. So they would go, makes sense. This underline says blood sacrifices, and that underline says human sacrifices. So therefore D&D bad. D&D bad. Jesus Christ. Holy crap. You know what? Maybe if it wasn't for the cacodemon spell, none of this shit would have happened. So the components of the cacodemon spell are 5 flaming black candles, burn sulfur, bat hairs, lard, soot, etc., etc. The demons must name inscribed in runes inside the pinnacle, a dish of blood from some mammal, preferably human, of course, placed inside the area where the cacodemon is beheld. And then there's another quote from the necromancers. Blood packs are still made, the blood being drawn from the arms, thighs, or necks of participants. That volunteers. After that, animals or birds are sacrificed on the altar steps. The members drinking the blood, and in some cases, even eating the raw flesh of the victim. See Mike Warnke's book, Satan's Cellar, Eating Flesh from a Dismembered Finger. Okay. All right. So, oh God. All right. Is it all cacodemon? All right. Well, let's move on from cacodemon. Yeah, she's making her point with this one, as absurd as it is. But here we go. All right. What do we have here? Oh, this should be interesting. I wonder what she has a problem with astral projection. All right. By means of the astral spell, a cleric is able to project his or her astral body into the astral plane. Okay. No issue there so far. A person astrally projected can be seen only by creatures on the astral plane. At all times, the astral body is connected to the material by a silvery cord. Yes, most everyone with D&D should be familiar with this. If the cord is broken, the affected person is killed. The cleric can take up to 5 other creatures with him or her by means of the astral spell, providing the creatures are linked in a circle with the cleric. Okay, well, what's the issue? Into the Unknown by Reader's Digest. Oh, those are some excellent books. If they're the ones that I'm thinking of, Into the Unknown was an excellent books. One that I've read many volumes of. It covered all sorts of topics, and they were great. But they weren't works of nonfiction, so to speak. They were designed to focus on myths, mythology, ghosts, UFOs, all this stuff. It was essentially done for an entertaining read, and it was. But I can see where she can be confused because it is written like an encyclopedia. Therefore, it must be true. All right. The astral and physical bodies are connected by means of a cord, by means probably, along with vital currents pass. Should this cord be severed, death instantly results. The cord, the silver cord, spoken of in Ecclesiastes, whatever. Ecclesiastes. Yes, okay. Inelastic and capable of a great extension, it constitutes the essential link between the two bodies. Okay, again, what point is she trying to make here? The Occult by Wilson. We all know Wilson. Page 452 and 453. Dion's Fortune's explanation of werewolves also involves the astral body, or etheric double. I began by an effort of the will and imagination to draw the life out of it along the silver cord, as if sucking lemonade up a straw. The will forms now faded into a shapeless gray mist, this to absorb along the silver cord. Well, she's giving a lot of cool books to read. I mean, these might check some of these out. I can use a new book. Okay. Where are we at here? Oh, yeah, this one definitely is going to be running long. All right, so what do we have here? Let's see, Dungeon Master's Guide. Were-tigers are usually interested only in what benefits them. In human form, were-tigers can be mistaken for magic users if they have a domestic cat for an apparent familiar. Oh, God. Okay. Let's see. Find familiar. Okay. Familiar is of certain benefit to a magic user as the creature adds to the spellcaster's points. However, the magic user has no control over the sort of creature will answer the summoning. At such time as the magic user determines to find a familiar, he or she must stoke up a brazier, whatever, however you want to pronounce it, with charcoal and with, brazier. And when this is burning well, add 100 gold pieces worth of incense, herbs, basil, savory, and catnip for sure, and add fat. When these items are burning, the spellcaster begins his or her incantation and must be continued until the familiar comes or the casting time is finished. Now, I gotta say, the color that is provided in regards to magic spells in early Dungeons and Dragons is so much better than what it is, with modern D&D. In regards to the components, the specifics regarding, the verbal aspects and whatnot. They were a lot more interesting and had a lot more personality than, you snap your fingers and your bat or cat or rat appears. Into the Unknown by readers. Fuck hell. Okay. According to lore, witches are often served by familiars. Imps are minor demons in the form of such small animals as cats, dogs, ferrets, rats, and toads, which helped in spellcasting and ran all manner of errands. All right. Enough. All right. So these spells here are probably going to be, the kicker for a lot of people, because she's trying to associate them with, not very well, but with a variety of books, as the Reader's Digest is an authority of these things. Therefore, it must be true. There must be some sort of association, between the Voodoo Into the Unknown book by Reader's Digest and the spell chant. So, but yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so a lot of spells. So that's probably going to hit home for a lot of uninformed parents and people who are going to, these are probably the most direct ones that she has, that the parents can actually look and see that, oh my God, it's really here. It's true. Let's get these books out of my children's hands. All right. Special Center section, Blood and Human Sacrifice, Graveyard Desecration, Missing Children, Satan Worship, Witchcraft. Oh, God. Okay, what do we have here? All information taken from the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player Handbook, unless otherwise stated. Again, excellent reference. Pick up a copy. Keep it in your bag, or a scanned copy on your phone if ever you need to find something easily in regards to AD&D. So, page 44, Protection from Evil, Abjuration, items needed for the spell, Holy Water for protection from evil, and Blood for protection from good. Okay, Holy Water. Yeah, this is, if you want to keep evil away, douse yourself with Holy Water. And guess what? If you're religious, evil's out there, so they're going to do evil things. Pointing out what evil doesn't mean that you are technically teaching people to be evil. You're making them aware of it. I don't think I need to explain that to you, but probably needed to be explained to Pat here back in the day. All right, so it goes on. Augury, items seen in Dragon Bones or similar tokens. So yeah, here you go. Hey, if there's any question for spell components, turn to page 19 and 20 for certain spells. If you're ever not sure what you need. if you need to cast divination, and you go, well, what do I have here? Well, a sacrificial creature, incense, or smoldering dung. Well, I've got that, so I can cast a spell. So it looks like she's pointing out certain things that in highlighting words, or blood, bones, or ivory counter. Why the fuck is she pointing that out? Divination, set of divination counters such as bones or ivory counter, sticks, carved runes. The scare spell, a bit of bone from undead skeleton, zombie, ghoul, ghost, or mummy. Well, that means they're no more. So evil's defeated. Use their bones for good. Fear spell, the heart of a hen or white feather. Cool. So these spells definitely had a lot more personality. Materials needed for the spell. For animal growth, a pinch of bone powder or powdered bone. You can get that in, there's plenty of places to get that, like a butcher shop. Oh, here we go. Here's our friend Cacodemon again. By tribute of fresh human blood and the promise of one or more. Oh, yeah, we've already read this. Dish of blood, yada, 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 yada. Preferably human, of course. Dungeon. Okay, so she's not referencing Player's Handbook. Dungeon Master's Guide. Non-human soldiers. Page 31. But these evil creatures will certainly expect to loot, pillage, and rape freely at every chance they get. Okay. Yeah, because they're evil. And probably eat the captives. Evil. I mean, that's what, that's what evil does. Evil does, destroy, desecrate, steal, all the whole 9 yards. Yeah. So, but it's got keywords here. It's got what we call these days trigger words. Deities and demigods. Oh, wow. Wow. I wonder which version she had. Did she think she had the Cthulhu version? Oh, that'd be something to find. Pat Polling's, copy of Deities and Demigods, and it's a Cthulhu version. You know how much that'd be worth? Especially if she highlighted and signed everything. I know what I'm doing after this video. All right. Let's see here. Page 30. Tathlum. I really don't know what she's referencing here. First, cut off the head of an enemy and coat it with the lime gotten from a lime pool in the former territory of a dead person, allowing several coats to dry rock hard ball. Oh, I can just see her, on the typewriter, clack, 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 not even editing. But now, if this was current, I would say, oh wow, this was written by AI. First, cut off head of enemy and coat with lime gotten from lime pool in the former territory of the dead person, allowing several coats to dry rock hard ball. Thank you, Chat GPT. Page 35. Lalak, rain god. At each full moon, a priest of Lalak sacrifices a child or baby to Lalak. Once a year, there's a great festival held in his honor. Numerous babies are brought or taken from the populace. These babies are sacrificed to Lalak, after which the priests cook and eat them. If the babies cry during the sacrifice, this is taken as a good sign that rain will be abundant during the coming year. All right. Now, I'll give her that. That's fucked up. But still, again, I'm sure it's highlighting something that you do not want to be involved with. I mean, this is deities and demigods and whatnot, so I'm not entirely sure which one they're referencing here. But, yeah, okay. Hey, if I recall, there was some person in the good old Bible that was ready to cut, someone's baby in half to stop a couple women from giving him a headache from arguing. All right. Huan Ti, god of war. Slain enemies desecrated to Huan Ti have their heads taken off and burned. Rightfully so. You don't fuck with Huan Ti. Kali, Black Earth Mother. Her worship requires sacrifices, blood, and even an occasional human sacrifice. I mean, it's occasional. It's she's on a diet. That's it's high in fat. Let's be healthy. Lizard man. They are omnivorous, but lizard men are likely to prefer human flesh to other foods. And, just eating fruit gets boring, I'm sure, for them. But hey, everyone likes to mix it up. Me personally, I like an extra large Kit Kat. But, lizard men, they have their own thing. Dungeons & Dragons Monthly Dragon Magazine, Volume 4, October 1980, page 9. I may have that. The throne was hellishly ornated with red rubies and blue diamonds and, green clovers, and, yellow moons and so on and so forth. Magically delicious. All set into the bleached white bones of the royal seat. Upon it sat the ruler of this domain, Satan, Lord of Hell. To be useful in making a pact with the demon, sacrifices must be performed with a brazier and fire. A stone altar, portable altar weighs 500 gold pieces. Ouch. Bejeweled silver or gold bowls for victim's blood, and 5 minutes of time per creature sacrificed. Just 5 minutes, you go over, let's cancel the party. Chaotic and unintelligent creatures may not be sacrificed, and non-humans types, all but humans, count only half value as successful sacrifice. Emotional, stimulating, motivating. Actually, yeah, all of the above. This is all educational. Yes, stimulating, absolutely, motivating. Yeah, it motivates me to want to play D&D. Agrippa okay. Continue from page 17. What was page 17? Oh, I see here. Oh God, it continues on. Okay. What do we have here? Did I miss it? Blah blah blah. So more spells. Let's see here. Let's pick one. Oh, let's pick reincarnate. Wonder who might take issue with that. Let's see here. Druid spell, 7th level, reincarnate, necromantic. Page 64 of AD&D Player's Handbook. Druids have the capability of bringing back the dead in another body if death occurred no more than a week before the casting of the spell. Ooh. The person reincarnated will recall a majority of his or her former life and form. That's cool. Excuse me. So essentially, you're putting them into another body. I need to read AD&D again. I'm fairly certain that's not how the spell works. It just brings back the body itself, as long as it's not, over a certain amount of time, or the body is rotten to the point where it wouldn't serve them well. But never really utilized reincarnate spells in any game. You just died and moved on. But I do like the idea of you're alive, but holy crap, it's a parent trap, and then her associated into the unknown. I should probably do a deep dive of the Into the Unknowns that she's referring here, because there are copies of at my dad's house and in boxes up in the attic, so somewhere. But Shanti said, for example, that her name during a previous life had been Luigi. That she had died giving birth to a child of her own. Well, there you go. I mean, no more argument. What more is there to say? There's no contesting this and the associations therein. Oh God, I didn't realize this was going to be so hard getting through. All right. Invisibility. What the hell's their problem with invisibility? Second level magic user spell, page 70, AD&D Player's Handbook. Illusion Phantasm. The spell causes the recipient to vanish from sight and not be detectable by normal vision. Okay. According to legends that surround his existence, Pythagoras possessed extraordinary powers. He could make himself invisible. Okay. 1. This spell, on its own, completely harmless, shouldn't even make anyone bat an eye. The big issue I have with this one is her assuming that the people who are reading this book, let alone her, knows who the hell Pythagoras was. Oh, okay. Oh, well, here we go. Dungeon Master's Guide, page 7. Introduction. Swords and sorcery best describes what this game is all about. For these are the two key ingredients. Which are what? Which are what? And then she goes on to cite a history of witchcraft. Roman law had been stern in dealing with sorcery. The word maleficium, originally wrongdoing in general, now came to mean malevolent sorcery in particular. And the malefices, or the malefica, were presumed to be closely associated with the devil. Sorcery can now be prosecuted not simply as a crime against society, but as heresy and a crime against God. And then our old buddy Into the Unknown. Broomstick and magic sword are part of the Sabbath. What? Oh man. Okay. Telekinesis. Oh God. She went to psionics in AD&D. Good for her. The psionic individual is able to use the science to mentally move telekinesis objects weighing up to a maximum of 30 gold pieces of weight. Her reference, Into the Unknown, page 253, Mind Over Matter. She, Kuligina, possesses an extraordinary talent, that of psychokinesis, or the control of external matter with the power of the human mind. Through such unexplained focusing and directing of mental energy, it is reported Kuligina can perform a variety of seemingly impossible tasks. She can make matches skitter across the table, levitating a ping pong ball. Move a piece of bread and dislodge from a shelf a vase weighing a half a pound. Well, if you happen to see your child moving a piece of bread with their mind, 1980s parents, I will give you that. If I could learn how to levitate a ping pong ball just by reading AD&D, that would be awesome. And I think I would have figured it out by now. So, God, yes. All right. I'm glad that there's laughter in this and it's not just headaches. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Here's a good one. Finger of Death. Page 64, Druid spell, 7th level, enchantment charm. The Finger of Death spell causes the victim's heart to stop. Okay. Here we go. Into the Unknown, page 24, the voodoo issue. In a well-known study entitled Voodoo Death, Harvard psychologist or physiologist Dr. Walter B. Cannon describes the process whereby a believer in voodoo can, if he thinks he has been cursed, cause himself to die of fright. Okay. Well, these are a bit, these are quite the stretch here, Pat. These are quite the stretch. All right, let's see here. Oh God! All right, our friend Cacodemon's here. Let's close the spells with this one. For a demon to remain on the plane, it was summoned for a demon can remain on the plane it was summoned to for as long as 666 days. Page 120, under the outer planes, we find listed the 66 layers of the abyss, hell of absolute chaotic evil, and of course, she's going to reference Iron Maiden. And he causes all small and rich and great and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save that he has the mark or name of the beast or the number of man. And his number is 636. Oh, yeah, and Iron Maiden did it better. The mark of the beast is to be the number of the Antichrist, king of the tribulation, period. Okay, so she goes on to talk about D&D religious theme. All items taken from the D&D Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Advanced Player's Handbook, unless otherwise stated. Page 2. D&D has become a gaming cult as avid D&D players have ceaselessly spread the gospel. Whoopsie. Oh wow. We have we have a Beatles fumble here. Well, still. You act out the game as this character, staying within your God-given abilities. Page 7. Well, I mean, again, all abilities are, if you're a Christian, you feel, all abilities provided you are from God. So, even the gods themselves may enter your character's life. So again, these are select references from different pages taken out of context. Again, feel free to pull out your old AD&D Player's Handbook to read these in the proper context as they were meant to be taken. But page 20, the cleric. The class of character bears a certain resemblance to religious orders of the knighthood of medieval times. They existed. So the issue? The cleric is dedicated to a deity, or I assume that says deities, just like any religion around the world. Those that are monotheistic, polytheistic, whatever. Yes, they are going to be dedicated to them, one way or another. All clerics have certain holy symbols which aid them and give power to their spells. The power of Christ compels you. Sprinkle with holy water, hold the cross out. Yes, again, it's true. All clerics have their own spells bestowed upon them by their deity for correct and diligent prayers and deeds. Another important attribute of the cleric is the ability to turn away or actually command into service the undead and less powerful demons or devils. You remove cleric, you put priest. What's the issue? When a cleric achieves 8th level patriarch or matriarch, he or she automatically attracts followers if the cleric establishes a place of worship. Yada, 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 yada. Okay. Upon reaching 9th level, they get a stronghold. Well, I mean, again, you study Christianity, or you go into the Catholic religion and you become a priest at a certain time. You're provided a flock and sometimes a church and so on and so forth to, again. Okay. Druids, the necromancers. Okay, so she's referencing the necromancers. Let's see here. All right, so let's see. Druids are chosen after puberty for certain natural powers, institution, diagnosis, second sight, and thought control. Okay. But what's the correlation to D&D? Druids can be visualized as medieval cousins of the ancient Celtic sect of Druids would have become had it survived the Roman conquest. They hold trees, particularly oak and ash, the sun and the moon as their deities. Mistletoe is the holy symbol of Druids. As medieval cousins. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's the same as here, but anyways, yeah. Law and good deeds are the meat and drink of paladins. Yes. If they ever knowingly perform an act which is chaotic in nature, they must seek a high 7th level or above cleric of lawful good alignment, confess their sin, and do penance as prescribed by the cleric. Okay. The ability to lay on hands, either his or own person to cure wounds. Okay, so, all right. So, she's just going to pull references out. If Paladin has a holy sword, she projects a circle of power. But again, the what's being described here, again, I know I'm probably preaching the choir, but we all know what's being described here is taken from mythological and religious aspects throughout history. All they're doing is just making it playable. So nothing here is evil. This is just, hey, this is how, we feel that if magic was real, this is how, how paladins and clerics and would actually be in the real world. So, all right, through prayer, we will not guarantee that the spells, though prayer will not guarantee that the spells will be given to the cleric. So it's things like this, that, should bug me and should bug you, because all she's doing is just, she's finding keywords, oh, this says prayer in it, therefore it must be bad, and continue on. Blessing, holy water, bless, holy object, and so on. Okay. And wow, she does a lot of them. Here we go. And so we'll conclude with Dungeon Master's Guide, page 39. There is no salvation for a thrice changed cleric. He or she is instantly killed. Wow. That's cool. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's back up a little bit. Let's see. The deity, let's see. Okay, this is regarding atonement. Let's see here. If they have not been faithful to the teachings, followed the aims of their deity, contributed freely to their cause, and otherwise acted according to the tenets of their faith, it becomes unlikely they will receive intermediary aid unless they make a proper atonement and sacrifice. To require the cleric to spend 2 to 8 days in prayer, fasting, and contemplation as his or her transgressions, making whatever sacrifices and atonement are necessary. The deity, you, the dungeon master, will point out these transgressions. Once a cleric changes deities, he or she must therefore be absolutely true to the new calling, or he or she will be snuffed out by some godlike means. Oh, wow. Okay. So if you're a cleric, we'll just say a cleric of Helm, and you decide to be, a cleric of, I don't know, Mystara, and then you become a cleric of, we'll just say, Thor. If you try to change the third time, there's no salvation. You're instantly killed, buddy. That's kind of cool. Again, I haven't read AD&D in a long time, and there's a lot of wonderful little things in there that still make it a wonderful game to play and still can be used today. But that's kind of cool. That kind of keeps certain players in check. It's just like, wait, I found a spell that I like from this god, so I'm going to change again and again and again, and it makes sense. I mean, shit, nobody likes a splitter. All right, so the information contained herein is by no means complete. Complete, Ed? There's no doubt that the D&D books are, in fact, a introduction to the occult. Really? Yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. In 1801, Francis Barrett published a book called The Magus, or Celestial Intelligencer, which is a complete system of occult philosophy which can be equated with the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons book. I doubt that. I mean, kinda, but directly? Unequivocally? Oh, boy. Okay, well, let's see here. Is that it? Okay, here we go. Negative excerpts. Okay, there's a bit more to get through here. I thought we were almost done. So, where are we at? Yeah, we'll write this out. I think I can get it done in 15 minutes. So, negative excerpts. Dungeon Master's Guide, page 8, Introduction, Gary Gygax. Quote, as this book is the exclusive precinct of the Dungeon Master, you must view any non-player possessing it as something less than worry of honorable death. Jesus, Pat. A joke. Oof, God. Okay. Yeah, I mean, all right. Yeah, grieving mother, lost her child to suicide. I get it, but I mean, still. All right. Anyways, know the game systems and you will know how and when to take upon yourself the ultimate power. Cloddish characters who only thought in life is to loot, pillage, slay, and who fail what they aim to destroy as cheaply and quickly as possible. Speaking of D&D, amusing and diverting pastime, something which can fill a few hours or consume endless days. Death. The character faces death in many forms. The most common death due to combat is no greater matter in most cases, for the character can often be brought back by means of clerical spell or alter reality wish. All right, let's see. What's a good one in here? Clone spell. The spell creates a duplicate person. No shit. The cloning original will attempt to do away with one another. If one cannot destroy the other, one will go insane, 75% likely to be the clone, and destroy itself, or possibly 5% both will become mad and commit suicide. Okay, there you go. There's the trigger word for her. And another one. Suicidal mania. This form of insanity causes the afflicted character to have overwhelming urges to destroy himself or herself whenever the means is presented. Homicidal mania. Okay, yeah. So this in AD&D, I think, had certain forms of mental illness. Again, I should probably take a look at it. But this form of insanity causes the afflicted to be obsessed with the desire to kill. The desire must be fulfilled periodically 1 to 4 day intervals. If prevented from killing, the frustrated individual will become uncontrollably maniacal and attack the first person he or she encounters, wildly seeking to slay. Okay, yeah. So I mean, yeah, this, this, yeah. Again, you just focus on this. That's going to trigger a few people, understandably so, but doesn't necessarily give it the excuse to say, well, AD&D is the cause of these things. It's far more complicated than that, as we all know, and it's been proven. Death magic. Death rays, fingers of death, and other magics will kill a victim which fails its saving throw. Okay, so yeah, she's going to go ahead and just continue on with a variety of trigger words, as seems to be her, her inspiration, her ways to make this make sense. Assassins use poison just as any other character does. Okay. Let's see. Assassins, lycanthropy. Monster is a player character. Page 21, Dungeon Master's Guide. On occasion, one player or another will evidence a strong desire to operate as a monster, conceiving a playable character as a strong demon, a devil, a dragon, or one of the most powerful sort of undead creatures. The 3Ds of demigods, demons, and devils are enough to strike fear into most characters, let alone when the very gods themselves are brought into consideration. Yeah, again, just keywords. He said demon. All right, lycanthropy, were-rats, let's see, kleptomania. Has uncontrollable urge to steal any small object available. The individual will lie to avoid being prevented the opportunity or when caught. Okay, thank you for that reference. Okay, so let's see here. Herbophrenia. Okay, I'm familiar with this one. Withdrawal from the real world. Okay. If irritated by someone nearby, the afflicted is 75% likely to become enraged and maniacal, attacking the offender fiercely. All right. Whoops, too far. We're almost done here. What's a good one? Let's see. Periapt of foul rotting. Yes. This appears to be a gem of small value. If any character claims it as his or her own, or she will contract a terrible rotting disease, a form of leprosy which can be removed only by application of a remove curse spell, followed by a cure disease, and then a heal or limited wish or wish spell. Wow. Cool. Oh, geez. What's this? Dungeon Master's Guide, page 26. Minor malevolent effect. User sex change. Page 145. Girdle of femininity, masculinity. The broad leather band appears to be a normal belt used commonly by all sorts of adventurers, but of course it is magical. If buckled, it will immediately change the sex of its wearer to the opposite gender. And? I mean, yeah, I know. This was the 80s. Things were different back then. All right. Random harlot table, anyone? Harlot. The encounter could be with a dancer only prostituting herself as it pleases her, an elderly madam, or even a pimp. Hey, well, at least equal opportunity there. In addition to offering of the usual fare, the harlot is 30% likely to know valuable information. Cool. Oh, yeah. If you're unaware, there are certain things that are a bit funny and whatnot, but yeah, look up random harlot table or whatever it's called for AD&D First Edition. It's kind of funny. All right, what else do we have here? We're almost done. Let's see. Advanced D&D Player's Handbook, page 107. Premeditated murder. Premeditated murder, particularly on a grand scale, is likewise the exclusive precinct of the Assassin's Guild. And everyone's got to eat. Alignment. Chaotic evil. Life has no value. By promoting chaos and evil, those of this alignment hope to bring themselves to positions of power, glory, and prestige in a system ruled by individual caprice and their own whims. Sounds about right to me. Chaotic neutral, above respect for life and good, or disregard for life and promotion of evil. Good and evil are complementary balance arms. Okay. Alignment, lawful evil. Life, beauty, truth, freedom, and the like are held as valueless. Okay. Oh boy, here we go. The Hand of Vecna. Page 157 and 158, Dungeon Master's Guide, AD&D. First edition. You, the Dungeon Master, should then begin an insidious campaign or suggestion and urging toward evil on the character's part. When a primary power is used, the host will become neutral evil. Very evil. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe the ribbon just ran out. That was it. Who knows? She didn't have a ribbon for a typewriter. But all right, yeah, we've been gapping long enough on this. So we've got a parting note here from Pat. Our generation has effectively ushered in. Pause 3 times. The teen suicide era. I think suicide's been around forever, Pat. So, yeah, but you, like I said, you do your research. Never before in the history of this world have our teens been bombarded with harmful, negative influences aimed at the delicate, sensitive, easy-swayed minds of our children. Maybe read a history book. The healthy growth and development of our children is being hindered by violent fantasy role-playing games. Oh, rock music, which directs the kids to get high, shoot up, commit suicide, and Satan worship. Not in that order? Because, you get to number 3, you're not likely to get to number 4, Pat. Pornographic literature, violent movies, and lastly, violent videos. What can be found in these things that builds character, integrity, and high ideals? Well, I think you've answered that within this book, Pat. So you've done an excellent job. I can't even fucking say it. Bringing your case forward, and showing everyone the horrible aspects of AD&D. So there you go. There you are. For information, write to B.A.D.D, B.A.D.D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons, a non-profit organization. And that is it. All right. Well, that was interesting. I flipped through this before, but never really read it in any sort of detail. But there you have it. So yeah, this was the spark that unfortunately burned many a valuable collection of role-playing games and books. And in highlighting D&D, it overlooked, the more egregious role-playing games that actually probably they would have had a better case, saying might be more harmful, even though they weren't, than AD&D itself. But, it was the 500-pound gorilla in the room, and there you have it. So that was we are at an end. So again, if you enjoyed this, if you made it to the end, thank you so much. Again, thank you one and all for getting my silly, stupid little channel up to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate it, and still growing. It's like 1,020 something now, so that's fantastic. If you aren't subscribed and you enjoyed this video, please feel free to do so. Not necessary, but it would be nice. Likewise, check out the other videos I have on this channel. And also check out the podcast that I co-host with my friend Keith from Rolling Boxcars. It's Titterpigs, the tabletop RPG podcast, where we talk about all sorts of topics. And our recent one that's going to be coming out soon is one where Keith and I talk about the aspects of tabletop RPG reviews and the merits that other people associate with those, whether they've played the game or not. And the issues that we have with certain expectations like that. So, let's see here. Anything else going on? Yes, I did post recently a slew of other videos that are coming out. I'm going to be taking a look at, what was the one? Rosewood Abbey. That's going to be an unboxing I'm doing. Rosewood Abbey. is a game that is inspired by the works of Umberto Eco and the movie Name of the Rose. So that should be interesting to page through and get a first impression of. My wife is going to be returning as she takes a look and critiques the covers for all of the Dungeon Master's guides next, and then we'll be getting to the Monster Manual after that. And I believe, what else did I say? Oh yes. Upon request, and I'll probably do more of those, is I'm going to be doing an actual review, not just a page through first impression, but an actual review of an adventure that I ran called Nightmare Over Ragged Hollow. And I did run it for those of you who, have the, did he run the game? Stick up your bum. Don't worry about that, but I'll be doing an actual review of the adventure, highlighting the pluses and, some of the nitpicky aspects that I have with it. And, but of course it is an adventure. So I'll warn you here, but I'll warn you before the video. Spoilers. Duh. I'm talking about adventure. So with that, thank you one and all, for supporting the channel, for subscribing. This is most excellent and completely unexpected. And, maybe we'll do something else once we reach 2,000. Who knows if that will ever happen? I'm old. I may not, have the patience to wait that long to do that, but who knows? It's up to the people who watch it and enjoy it. So thank you so much. This has been a special episode of A Pull from the Shelf, and I look forward to talking with you all again real soon.